Good night, those. Thanks again for tuning in to yet another video. Infamous coming at you live from the West Coast yet again, San Jose, California. So I visited my dealership again. I've been visiting them regularly for the last couple weeks. They typically get their inventory on Thursday. So if you're in the Bay Area and you want to look at these new 2025s, I would say come in on a Friday. So you could also contact your dealership and ask them when do they typically get new inventory. They will tell you on the phone. All right, so we now finally, after 3 weeks, have a few 2025 models. This is at my House of Thunder local dealership, of course. This is about like 20 minutes away from me. San Jose Harley-Davidson, they also have a couple 2025s, but as far as the CVO ST 2025, I think House of Thunder is the only ones that have it. So you guys can see, of course, the ST. You guys can see in the background, there's a bunch of 2024s. There's a bunch of 2023s. You know, they have a lot of Lowrider S. I mean, this one right here, I don't know if it's a used one, but it's a gunship gray, so you know it's a 2022. So they have a lot of inventory. So in case you guys are wondering, maybe they're having sales, maybe they're having discounts. But this isn't like a B-roll video or anything like that. This is just stuff that I kind of picked up on. I don't know if I have permission to record, of course, on at the dealership, but I did record a little bit. You guys can see the Road Glide ST or the CVO ST Sport Touring. It's pretty much the same. They haven't really done anything to it. It's still the same, you know, wheel design. The only thing they've done was just the color, which I'm not really a fan of. I don't really dig this gray and red on the bike. It looks like an afterthought. It's not really, I don't know, it doesn't really flow with the lines of the bike. But of course it still has the Screaming Eagle on the side of the bike, kind of like what you had on the 2024s. You know, there's not really much to say about it. Of course you have the carbon fiber, or the forged carbon fiber on the front with it on the back of the seat. Of course you also have the exhaust tips. And you have the console or the dash cover as well. All of that is forged carbon fiber. So it still looks amazing. It looks great, even with the horrible, you know, paint design. It's a good looking bike. The 121, huge intake. Of course, you have the flat bars on the engine guards. You know, it's a nice package. All right, you have the Brembo brakes, waved rotors and everything, except for the rear one. Of course, that's still a stock. You guys can see it right here. It's still a stock rotor. You have wave rotors on the front, but I guess you just don't need them on the back because you really can't see it. I don't know. Harley-Davidson, just throw in that extra rotor. You know, you already have the performance package. How can you have a performance package when your rear brake is just a stock disc? But of course, here's a little close-up of the 121 high output. It's a beautiful bike, you know, the little trims and everything, screws performance. And here's the vented trans cover right here. I wanted to get a close look at this because I was wondering about the 2025 Softails, and they also have it. So you guys can see this is the new trans cover right there. You see how it vents up. This little pipe vents up. All right. So it no longer breathes through the breather holes over here. They've redesigned this in 2023, I believe. So it's a beautiful looking bike. I really like the finish of the exhaust. You know, it's not. I don't think it's ceramic coated. I'm not too sure, but these tend to last a lot longer than the ceramic coating. So I'm not sure what they're using. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is ceramic coating, and then they're just adding that high gloss. But these heat shields and the pipe, or the heat shields, it all ages pretty good. And you know, it's nothing like the ceramic coating. So here's a little close up, of course, the Screaming Eagle, and then I'm gonna use Laidlaw's footage or his B-roll footage in the videos, of course, because his stuff's always good when it comes to the B-roll. So if he has some footage of a CVO ST, I'll put it in here so you guys can take a look at it. Matt Laidlaw, of course, huge YouTuber. And here is the Softail. You guys can see, I'm trying to get a close-up of the trans cover, but you can see it right there. That is that's the vented trans cover on the Softail. So the Softails also have it right there. I'm not sure if the camera's gonna pick it up, but I'm trying to. I actually go on the other side too as well. But here's a couple little extra details that I did not notice when I when I first reacted to the bike. But you can see the turn signals are now relocated to your tail light, which is pretty neat because now you don't have to relocate your turn signals whenever you do this at Saddlebags. So as far as easy mounts, that's no longer needed, which is pretty neat because, like I said, you don't have to move you don't have to relocate your turn signals, and you also don't have to switch your exhaust. Because before with the regular leather pros, you had to, of course, have a 2-in-1 exhaust. With this new setup, of course, you now have the turn signals. The turn signals are already relocated, and the 2025 FX LRS comes with the 2-in-1 OEM stock pipe. So it's pretty neat. You guys can see the struts, of course, a lot cleaner. If you, of course, don't know, you could also go to Harry's Customs and you can have the insert covers here, and of course they're 3D printed, but it matches the texture of your strut. So it's pretty neat. It's just something that I didn't notice on my first reaction. So you could really see that right here. It cleans up the back end. You guys can let me know in the comments, of course, if you guys prefer this, or you guys prefer the bullet lights on the struts. I prefer this. All right, I like this because, like I said, you could add whatever storage you want without having to worry about relocating the turn signals. The 2-in-1, of course, you guys can see the 117 high output looks great. It also has the VVT cam chest cover on there as well. I don't know if they have new sensors or whatever, kind of like you have on the touring models. I hope it doesn't have any cam sensors or anything like that, but it might have them now. You could also, like I said, notice that they're now using a different color on the tank badging, which fits the bike well, especially because, of course, you have the little red accents throughout the whole bike. So I think it looks pretty decent. 117 red Harley-Davidson tank badging also in red, which looks neat. And then, of course, you also have the black wheels as well. So these for a long time, since 2020, were bronze. And I believe they look pretty neat. I mean, I believe they look good because, of course, that was the 2017, 2016 Dyna colorway, was the black and the bronze. So I don't know. I mean, I prefer the other colorway, but the black and red, that also looks pretty good. I like it. So I think I don't know. I believe I would have liked it with the bronze wheels and the black and red, but you guys can let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? So it's a good looking bike. It's a Lowrider S. It's Harley's best selling bike, of course. You have the dual disc brakes, inverted forks, everything. Everything looks good on this bike. Traditional. The bike looks amazing. You have the full rear fender. You have the 5-gallon tank, of course. And you have the suspension, and now you have some pretty decent performance. The 117 should have been released from 2020. I'm not too salty about it, but I think it should have had the 117 because the Dyna always had the 110, the Lowrider S. So this should have been 117 from the get-go. But here, we're going to go on the other side so you guys can see that it is vented through the trans cover. Here we go. This is me pointing it out now. So this is a new trans cover. You guys can see there's that line right there. So you could do a couple things. All right, you could, of course, chop it and then put a little breather on top of this this hose. You could do that. That way it's still externally vented. You guys get what I'm saying? So just a little bit of a close up here. You can see that it goes up, and I believe it still goes up to the heads. But I'm not sure if it's vented into your piston and your cylinder. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, if I had, like, I'm just saying, if I had a 2025, this is where I would cut the hose, and then I would put one of those air breathers or one of those vented breathers on this area right here, and then just zip tie it here instead of having it going back into the engine. But the bike looks amazing. You know, it's 20 something $1,000, or how much is it now? I think it's $20,000. I also look at, of course, the hand controls. You guys can see the tail light, new design. It's a new LED. The turn signals are also LEDs, which is kind of neat. Harley hasn't done that before. Here are the hand controls. I'm not a huge fan of the hand controls. I'm not digging them, and they're plastic. I put a little magnet to them. These are the new hand controls. I much prefer the old style. I'm not sure if they did this for cost or they did this just to kind of incorporate the new riding modes, because you don't have a TFT display on this. So I'm not a huge fan. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the hand controls. They look, I don't know. They just look a little bit too similar to the Indian hand controls. Oh, here's the mode button right here on your turn signal. Okay, so that's what they did. They've added it. I just don't know what this is for. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments. I don't like the hand controls. I just don't like them. I like the old ones. And I believe, yeah, so this is your cruise control right here. That's your cruise control. I believe I also point out the new LED turn signals. Was it in this video? Maybe it wasn't in this video, but here's the other video. Once again, looking at the hand controls, you have your high beam, low beam. No TFT display. Hand controls look bland to me. I just don't like them. There's the LEDs on the turn signals. Finally updated that, of course. So if you're looking at some of these 2025s and you can't really tell if it's a 2024 2025, looking at the turn signals, that would pretty much give it away, because I mean they really didn't change that much. All right, the 117 high output, that's something from that's something new that you don't get on the 2024s. You also have the riding modes, and now, of course, we could also confirm that your trans cover is vented, so you're no longer venting through the breather bolts. The intake, I also sat on the bike and I noticed that the intake doesn't rub up against your shin or your foot, so that's also a benefit, because they've actually slightly tweaked the intake. It's at an angle now, so they have a little bit more room. And overall, I like what they did. 2025, is it worth the extra, I think 2,000, or I'm not sure how much. I know the Lowrider ST, it's 24,000, so that went up significantly. I would say, man, I don't know. I mean, you could get a pretty decent 2020 Lowrider S with like a 128 for less than this. There's some really good builds out there for 2020 Lowrider S. And they have a lot of stuff on them. They have, a cam. A cam 114 will always outperform a 117. Always. So you can see the tail light. They even put a little Harley-Davidson back there on the tail light. So new tail light. It looks a lot more like the Custom Dynamics or the Eagle. What is it called? Eagle Lighting. I can't remember what the brand is. But of course, a new redesigned tail light with the turn signals attached to the brake light. Looks pretty good. And of course, so that really cleans up the struts back there. And there's the new 2-in-1. And I've been saying this for a while too in my previous videos. Harley has these parts. They've been using it on their Sport Glide. Why not? They finally listened. Why not put that on the Lowrider S? And they finally did. They did it on the Lowrider S. They did it on the Street Bob, if I remember correctly. They did it on a few different bikes, a few different. I think I don't know about the other Softails, but some of them now have the 2-in-1, which is, like I said, it's something that Harley already had in their inventory. They didn't have to redesign the exhaust or anything like that. They have this with the Sport Glide. Now they have it on the Lowrider S, which is pretty good, because especially on the Lowrider ST, having the lopsided saddlebags was an issue. You had a short saddlebag on the right and you had a bigger saddlebag on the left, because of the stacked exhaust. Now that you have a 2-in-1, now you don't have to compromise the design or the size of the exhaust anymore. I mean the size of the saddlebag, sorry guys. But some good changes. I wish they had kept the the regular hand controls, but that's pretty much like my only gripe against this. I like the riding modes. I've already mentioned it before. I like that they've improved the performance. I like that you have a 117 high output that's, you know, putting out some decent performance. And then, of course, you have the 117, so just adding the right cam, this thing's going to do big numbers. And we're talking just for like $300 cam, like a 480 or 485 or 3030, you know, you do that cam plus a proper tune, which is only about $1,000 because the tune's going to set you back $600. The cam's going to set you back about $300. If you're able to do it yourself, you know, for $1,000, you're looking at numbers close to 130 horsepower at the wheel, which is impressive for just a cam. You know, that's some huge numbers. You know, you're adding a lot of performance. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, just visited these my local dealer. They had a few bikes, of course, now. So we're starting to see some of these 2025s at the dealerships. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching yet another video. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.